It is also emerging that the number of displaced people around the world has hit a record high. That's according to the annual UNHCR Global Trends report. It says more than 68 million people were forced to flee their homes last year as a result of war, violence and other forms of persecution. The UN High Commissioner for Refugees Filippo Grandi is calling for a global agreement on tackling the issue of refugees.
Across many parts of the world, many people are in desperate need for a safe refuge after being forced to flee their homes. The UNHCR says refugee numbers from around the world has hit a 5-year high. That's up from 65.6 million in 2016.
First of all, the global figure has gone up again by a couple of million. We're now at 68.5 million people displaced or refugees globally. Needless to say, this is because of protracted conflicts.
The UN High Commissioner for Refugees says governments in many rich countries have ignored their duty to help people fleeing from war or persecution.
Now, governments should actually exercise leadership, provide good responses. It's possible, it's manageable. We're not talking about unmanageable numbers moving to the rich countries, but the contrary has happened, that governments have projected an image of emergency, of invasion, and actually, unfortunately, many political leaders have capitalized on that to gain votes. They've built fear to build their electoral basis. And I think that this is despicable and this is irresponsible.
The UN refugee chief has praised countries like Bangladesh, Jordan and Kenya for going beyond their international obligations and accepting huge numbers of refugees. But some countries in Europe, as well as Australia and the United States, have been sharply criticized for their harsh immigration policies.
The figures have decreased considerably. Still, the US program is the biggest in the world. The administration have fixed the cap for this year at, I think, 45,000. I think less will be implemented because resources have also been reduced. But other countries have also reduced. I was in Denmark recently, and I encouraged the Danish government that has eliminated its resettlement program to start it again.
Ahead of World Refugee Day, which is observed on June 20 each year, the UN High Commissioner for Refugees says a global deal on refugees is critical. 14 countries are already pioneering a blueprint for responding to refugee situations. And in a few months, a new global compact on refugees will be tabled for adoption by the United Nations General Assembly. Tuli Shabalala, CGTN.